www.olga.com.
And we are back on air, Olga Show for you every Saturday Night Live, and from you to you. If you want to call 408-912-5265, also Olga Show Skype, Olga Show Facebook, Olga Show tweets. I know I receive a lot of messages from you and comments. Thank you very much. We're improving our show as you want it, and we're using your comments as well. So we have guests here from Winter Fancy Food Show, Polska Foods. They are here, local and growing fast. I would like to know about your business secret. You are a small business, husband and wife, right?
Yes.
So how long ago did you start your Polska Foods? I'm carrying the bags. That's all about pierogi, but types of dumplings and pelmeni in Russian style.
Yes, very Eastern European food. I actually never even had a pierogi before until I met my husband, so we wouldn't be in business if it wasn't for me meeting him, and we met at a Halloween party, actually.
Halloween?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to know what kind of dress did he have, and what kind of dress did you
Alright, come on. What were you? I will not ask. I will just erase this.
He was a doctor, and I was a rock climber. I just didn't have anything to wear, so I threw on. I used to rock climb a lot, so I just threw some rock climbing gear on, and that was my costume. It was actually kind of pathetic, and he didn't even know what I had on. He just saw this metal stuff hanging from my waist, and he didn't care though. He just wanted to talk to me.
Closer to construction guy, man.
Yeah, she looks like construction woman or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, probably, exactly.
Like, wow, that's sexy. She's wearing like construction clothes. Yeah, I don't do rock climbing. I know lots of people try to convince me. Some of my girlfriends do it. Some of my friends doing it, and they enjoy it. And I'm like, I cannot imagine myself doing it. So I bow to you that you're doing that.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you start a business, any of your hobbies, you can kiss them all goodbye. Okay. There's no time anymore. That you're 100% into that business. It's, so yeah, I don't remember the last time I went rock climbing.
Okay.
So, but, it was love at first sight, I could say, when we met each other. And we got married pretty quickly. He was actually ready to go back to Poland. When I met him, he had his lease ready to go. His brother lives here locally, and so, but his home is just Poland, and his family's there, and it's his love. So
I want to know quickly. How's quickly? Define quickly. I mean, quickly compare 100 years old quickly, 10 years old quickly. So.
Oh, this was 4 years ago or 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, and that we met, and it was right after we got married. Shortly after that, I think we married pretty quickly, actually. And I went to Poland, and I had to meet the family. So when I went, of course, he grew up on a farm in Poland, so everything.
Which city?
Oh, this is like the southwest part of Poland, like close to Czech Republic and Germany.
Okay.
It's like when I grew up, I'm talking when I was really young, my parents, they had like the farm, my grandparents.
Okay.
And after this, they just left field, no more animals, and it's like what's happened.
So I'm still trying to find details. Okay. So you went to Halloween party. You were a student here, or what did you do at Halloween party, or before Halloween party?
Before Halloween party, I came on the working visa, and just always extend a little bit, and it's
he was on vacation skiing. He really wanted to stay here.
The real reason why I extended my stay here was the Sierra Tahoe, the Nevada. I love skiing and snowboarding.
Right.
And I was usually spending. I used to live in Walnut Creek. It was pretty close to. Our mountains.
Skiing in October?
Yeah. Well, in Lake Tahoe, not in California.
No. I've been to Lake Tahoe. October seems a bit early to ski.
Yeah. No, but that. Before I met Bridget, there was few years. And it wasn't just the. And I decided to stay a little longer, and just for skiing. I usually was skiing maybe 30, maybe 40 days in the year.
Wow.
And one just once last year because of pierogi business.
and there's no snow this year, so
When I went, the ice was really, really thin.
Oh,
extra super thin.
Yeah, this weather is crazy.
So I guess it's global warming. So watch out.
Global cooling. You can look at the East Coast. I don't know, it's warming down.
I think we're stealing all of their warm.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, we keep everybody warm here in California. So you met each other and you just all of a sudden, what's your background? She's a nutritional specialist and you are...
I'm a structural engineer and I specialize in renovation old buildings. That's like exactly I can say, not too much work for me in California.
Okay.
Because I specialize in renovation buildings like they're 100 years old, 200, 300, 400 years old and more.
Yeah, we don't have 400 years.
There are no 400-year-old.
That's why he wanted to go back to Poland.
Okay. And then, and you all of a sudden decided to do pierogi business? What's up with that?
So let me tell this part. So when I went to meet his family, they didn't speak any English and I spoke no Polish. So we basically communicated through food. And sign language and food, and a lot of really good, right? So she actually made this homemade fresh pierogi, which was my first time ever having it. And again, all their ingredients is from the farm, fresh, pretty much like organic here. And it just was amazing. Absolutely amazing food. I just thought, I can't believe California doesn't have this kind of food. It's so good. We're supposed to have all nationalities and be sort of a hub of food in California. So, of course, when we came back to California, that was my first thing. I said, I want to get some more of these pierogis. We got to go find them. And we went and we tried to buy as many different flavors. We even did a trip on the East Coast and went to some delis. And nothing was like the flavor that I had in Poland. And so we just started making them ourselves. Mostly family and friends, and of course all my family is from California too, and they had never had pierogi before, and they thought, wow, this is so good. And it just kind of grew from there, and we just said, you guys should actually start selling this. And then we started at the farmers market, and we just thought, okay, let's, weren't going to take it as like thinking this is going to be a national brand, or that this was going to originally just be a small little local thing and something that we can do, and actually something that was maybe going to be on the side, and Tomek could still do his construction if he wanted to. That was how it started, and it just kind of took off. And shortly after the farmers market, we got into Whole Foods, and once you get into one region of Whole Foods, it opens you up to all the stores in that area. So we just went from store to store.
But how did you find the money to produce in nice packaging and all of the good organic ingredients? It's all cost money. Well, you have to have some money to start the business. You
do, and it is much more expensive than we thought. I mean, we put all of our savings into the business, and my background's actually marketing. It's in the nutritional and nutraceutical field, but actually marketing. So I was able to do all the graphic design on the packaging, and so we saved a lot of money for advertising and packaging because I could do the design. And then, of course, the bags, that is very expensive. But it's just the cost of doing business, and some people buy homes and other people buy labels. So it's just how it goes, and that's and it just everything that we've made we put back into the business, so that's what helped.
So for how many years do you have this business now?
So about 3.
We started in 2011.
With
like
research.
The small shop like the jeans market and farmers markets, and in the end of 2011 we had the first Whole Foods. Was in Campbell.
So you had an order, you came to Whole Foods and said, here's our pierogi, please try it? Or how's that
This
work?
is like exactly how this works.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, sounds too easy. I mean, I didn't do that.
Well, you have to research how to have a product on the market, and just being in a farmer's market, you have to deal with health inspectors, and so there's a lot of education just going on the farmer's market, getting your commercial kitchen and doing everything right. But then after that, going on the retail side, we were lucky because we just had some buyers, specifically Gene's Food in Saratoga. Dwayne actually he really loved our product, and he just, I was from Saratoga, grew up there, and so he wanted to help us out, and he just said, hey, you need to look at these things for labeling. Once we got the labeling and the nutrition facts down, that was really the hardest part. of going into a retail outlet like Whole Foods. But it's just, they tasted the flavor and they didn't have anything like it. There's a whole list of ingredients that Whole Foods will not allow in their store, but we were naturally already fit because we did everything natural. I mean, we don't do trans fats, we're not doing any preservatives or nothing artificial. So it was a natural fit for Whole Foods. And then if they don't have anything like this, especially nobody's doing organic pierogi, it was just a kind of a no-brainer for them. They said, yeah, we want these today.
Now, then I was wondering also about how you produce those. You have some kitchen, like big manufacturing kitchen to produce this for you and make?
Yes, exactly like that. Most like the food manufacturers, the smalls. I'm talking about the moms and pops. They start with commercial kitchen. You can rent or share commercial kitchen. And after this, when we grow that a little bit, you go and you start producing in bigger place, and there's the skip step by step. They never
More
try to build your own factory with the thinking that you can make so much money, because you can really be in trouble, financial trouble.
Right.
Because food business is really difficult. Actually, when you bring something new on the market, and we realize pierogi are something new for Californians, actually not Californians. And I can say the 95% people here in North California doesn't know what is pierogi.
Okay, yeah, because we have lots of tourists here. You have Russians and Europeans.
They know the pierogi. When they're tourists, and if from the East Coast or from Canada, they know pierogi. They go, oh, of course. And it's funny, when we were at the Fancy Food Show, our neighbors were both from New York, and they heard people coming up that were locals from California, and they were asking us, oh, what is pierogi? And they almost fell out of their chairs. What do you mean? People ask you what pierogi is? I don't understand. And but I can understand because I grew up in California, so I didn't know what it was either. But other parts of the country, it's like French fries, in popularity. So Poland, that's how I tell people they eat pierogi there. Like, it's every corner in that country. You can find a pierogi stand or some restaurant that's selling it.
And talking about that, you have one of the customer apparently who likes the food. And let's talk and introduce yourself. What's your name?
Hi, Olga. I'm Chantal Marie, and I've known Bridget through both work and school, and became friends with her and was there at the Halloween party the night that she met us.
What were you going as?
I was a grape.
She was beautiful.
That's a really unique costume. I've never met a Halloween grape before. Congratulations on that.
It was fun. And so after having known Bridget for many years and seeing their first kiss, and then obviously the wedding and the launch of their business and how this company grew, and then being a mom and a single parent basically. You're just always trying to feed your kid or your kids, and you want to feed them something healthy. And I'm from Santa Cruz County, so it's very health conscious out there. And my son is just in love with the pierogi, and I love the product. And I don't think of it so much as a product; I think of it as part of my life. It's like a standard meal. It's something that now I associate as part of my offerings when I go to friends' houses for potlucks and dinner parties, or when people come over. It's like the way that I connect with them. I connect with them through this meal, basically.
So how then you prepare it? It's frozen and you put in the oven?
It's super easy. This is what I love about it too as a parent. Like, you're always on the go, and you want something quick, and you want something nutritious, and you want something that's really going to satisfy you too. Because also as being a woman, you've kind of got cravings,
Right.
Here has me cravings for food too. That's why.
And you one who ate it all.
That's true.
I didn't even have anything to try yet.
And the best thing about it is you can't really screw it up. It's like you can take this this bag of frozen pierogi and just watch it a little bit when you're making it, and serve what appears to be a delicious meal, and it is. It's awesome. There was only one time that I ever screwed it up, and my son yelled at me. I said, "Mom, you ruined the pierogi!"
You just have to boil them.
I know. I let it boil for way too long. I'd forgotten about it.
So it's kind of like cooking a ravioli, where you just put boiling water and plop them into some boiling water, for those that were curious.
Yeah. And what's great about it is
So you made soup after that. So
exactly. It was a very odd-looking soup, but it was.
It's macaroni cheese soup.
Yeah, macaroni cheese like
Because you're only
vegetable
supposed to cook it for about 10 minutes. It's not a pre-cooked dough. We make them
Okay.
fresh and then flash freeze it. So it's really like getting the most fresh pasta you can. A lot of the people, it's funny because like they go to the grocery store and the hottest thing right now is to get fresh pasta or anything fresh in the deli. But actually that could be sitting there for 2 weeks. And I don't know how fresh, you know, when you make something and you put it in your fridge for 2 weeks, if you consider that still fresh. But when you make something
when
and
you're on the go, I don't know, anything will go.
yeah, but what we do is we make them and then we flash freeze it right away. So it's preserving all the nutrients, and actually you're just taking it right from the freezer and you're putting it in some boiling water, and that's it. You don't have to thaw them out. You don't want to actually, because it's such a delicate dough.
And I know, as being single mom, your son is here because he is hiding somewhere. He actually gave presentation in the school.
He did. I don't know if he wants to come out from.
Yeah, because
behind
he's
the
playing
computers over
with
there.
he's playing with a smartphone. Is that the new toy? New generation of kids
Unfortunately,
growing
yes.
up.
Smartphones and DSs and things like that. But what's great about his love for pierogi is not only does he know Bridget and Tomek, but he now connects with his friends with pierogi. And when we have play dates or we go to a play date, Mom, are we bringing pierogi? Can we bring pierogi? Oh, so-and-so hasn't had pierogi. And then they're like, what's pierogi? You know? And I become, you know, like this great, you know, chef all of a sudden. And the play dates love us. Like, oh, this is good, you know. And it feels wonderful when you can feed your kid and their friends something that's good for them. And they like you for it even more.
So yeah, that's good. Very nutritional, and I can see that you don't use any chemicals and you use whole grains, without preservatives, without antibiotics, lactose free, no MSG, and like I said, many others nutritional.
Or maybe make
ingredients.
something straight like that. We have just two kinds lactose free: mushroom cabbage and beef and pork. Because the potato cheese and spinach, they contain cheese. They're low in lactose, but like they still have lactose. Because farmer's cheese is basically low in lactose, around 5%. The people
It's just cultured milk. If those have you ever had farmer's cheese before?
Faruk,
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, a lot of
Russian
people don't, and
Faruk.
especially they don't know what farmer's cheese is. So I have to always explain that it's just a cultured milk. It's like the purest cheese.
Yeah, it's very good. It's no taste. I mean, it's very gentle taste of
Kind of
milk
like
and-
ricotta. Yeah, exactly. It's a very delicate flavor. And yeah, so we use the farmer's cheese for the potato cheese. We have it in regular, and then also in a whole wheat pierogi dough.
We try to bring more fiber to our diet.
Okay.
And like this is another surprise. A lot of people really love the white dough, and they have bad experience with whole wheat dough. It's always gooey, chewy, and like that.
Where it's
We
really
try
got
to
that
change
strong
this a
wheat
little.
flavor.
And this is like buckwheat, which is not everyone familiar with this. I love buckwheat. I grew up with it. In fact, it was delicacy for me. And if you have problem with blood, it has iron, a lot of iron.
yeah.
So I see that some of your varieties using
Like
buckwheat.
the meat one has like the buckwheat.
Yeah, beef and pork pierogi.
We don't use like the breadcrumbs or potato flakes like most companies like the
There's
making
no
pasta.
fillers. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like the buckwheat, healthy grain. And another nice thing about buckwheat is complete proteins. Yes.
It's actually not even a wheat. It's a seed, which is really interesting. A lot. I just
Doesn't have
learned that
anything
too.
connected with wheat. This is
Yeah,
not like
it's a seed, and it's actually one of the for a grain. It's one of the only complete proteins. It has all the essential amino acids in the buckwheat. Also high in fiber, magnesium, manganese. So it's great for, you know. We like to cook with it. You've had the Polish cabbage rolls called głąbki.
Yeah.
So a
they
lot
call
of
it galupsi.
Galupsi,
Okay,
yeah.
uh-huh.
So
yeah.
it's like rolled cabbage with meat inside. Yeah, it's very nice.
so that's
It
kind of where
takes
we.
a lot of time.
Oh,
to
yeah.
cook and prepare,
That's what
so-
we had. The idea is, you know, when you look at the flavors of the cabbage rolls, it's a lot of people use rice, but the original recipes were the meat and
Actually,
with
maybe
the
I will
buckwheat.
correct my wife. Like it depends what part of Poland,
Okay,
what
yeah.
part of Russia. People exchange because like the people make with rice, with buckwheat, and sometimes with millet, and sometimes it's just with meat. And
oh, okay.
yes, a lot of variation.
I'm
Right.
still
Like
learning about Polish food.
All right. Well, believe me, it's always changes. Even right now, you're not there, so they're probably doing some varieties,
Yeah.
which you wouldn't be aware by being here. So just like in Russia, I'm not aware of all of the changes happening
Oh, it's
there.
so true.
Because you are too busy here, you grow in your business, of course, and you have to run between the stores. And
You know, it's really interesting
ingredients.
that you bring that up, because when I came back from Poland, I met a lot of Polish people that had never been to Poland, but they were born and raised Polish in the United States. And they'd ask me, well, wow, you've been to my homeland, but I've never been. What was the one thing you loved the most about Poland? And I said, well, the food. And they said, the food? Are you kidding me? And I said, well, I'm Polish and I don't really like Polish food. And I thought that was really interesting. Well, I later realized that the food that they have now in Poland is really different than the food that has been here traditionally in America. And, you know, actually, Tomek can talk to that a little bit and tell the history of what the changes have happened.
I can say like after Second World War, people didn't have too many spices. Like in Russia, probably in Poland, most common spice was like the salt and pepper. Almost
Yes,
for
black
everything,
pepper,
and butter
maybe
and
red,
sour
yeah.
cream. This is
Right.
like the pagod fat. But right now, a lot of people cooks with spices, and more. Since like the 90s, we were open to like the European market and more access to almost all kinds of food, and people like to travel around the world. They bring more flavors back home. And Poland is not like everybody thinks like this heavy starchy food, but we had the French queen in Poland, and she brought a lot of spices and veggies. That was like the long time ago.
And those were the original Polish, but a lot of that was lost in the war, and the spices were lost. So those seasonings and flavors and recipes are coming back now, as they come back into the country.
Right. Now let's come back to your one of the big supporter and big eater of pierogies. So she's in Santa Cruz. Which city are you from? Exactly.
I'm living in Scotts Valley.
Scotts Valley. Yes, I'm familiar with that. On my way to Santa Cruz, you hit Scotts Valley and nice big trees, and I went to mystery spot there.
Okay.
So, and when you do those pierogies, I guess the smell goes all over the valley, attracting squirrels and deers, because you live like in the forest right there.
On the outskirts of it, yeah.
Yeah, and what do you do in your life? Like, what's your education?
I do internet marketing, search engine optimization. So it's, but I've actually used to work with Bridget before, and
In another company?
yeah.
or-
Mm-hmm.
So,
And the nutrition industry.
Yeah.
okay.
That's really the background there. But getting back to, you mentioned recipes, and you're talking about
Right.
spices, and one of the things that I love about Bridget and her family, and that she has in common with Tomek, is their love for cooking. And because I'm not the greatest cook, I go where the food is.
Yeah,
And I get fed really well. Same with my son when we go over to their house, and I think both of their cultural backgrounds, everything kind of centers around the table, and that was an experience that Bridget, had when she went to Poland. And I mentioned the word, connecting with people over food, and I keep coming back to that with their pierogi, because it's such an experience. And on a marketing level, most people, you want to have an experience with a product or with a person or in sales. And when it comes to their pierogi, and knowing this couple and their company, you feel good when you eat this food. You feel good serving it, and
It's like made with love.
Yeah, definitely.
Made with love and good energy, right? Which is important.
Right, but also because they enjoy cooking and they're so health conscious, they offer a lot of recipes on their website. So I actually go to their website to kind of spice up my kitchen.
Yeah, we think we have about almost 40 Polish recipes, from soups to the cabbage rolls, of just stuff that we've created, and we have gotten some from his family and then modified it, add a little California seasoning to it, or not, get a little California fusion sometimes, so it's great.
Well, our timing in my English part of the show coming to the end, Then I'm gonna come to Russian programming, so you have a chance to learn Russian language. Okay?
Is it easier than Polish?
Oh, I don't know.
By a vowel.
We're gonna try, and then we will hear from our Tomak what he thinks about it, Russian language.
Russian language is very similar to Polish, like in understanding, but in writing is completely different letters. Actually, not completely. There are different letters, and I had in a long time ago, probably when I was like the 13, 14, 15 years old, like that was the second language in my country.
Okay.
It's not anymore like this, like the Russian, we have also English and German, like that. And this way I understand Russian.
Okay.
So he kind of has an advantage in this game, just for all those guys. Don't judge us because we're not as good as him at this.
Okay, and I think you also have advantage because you tried it a few times.
Yes, I have a slightly small advantage, but I do too.
But then, of course, you have about 1 minute to wish our listeners what you have to say and what you wish them, and viewers as well. What would you wish them?
Well, for a good 2014, for sure. And if they want to try our pierogies, I hope they do. And we have a recipe on our website. It's 100 ways to make pierogi, and we're at 90 right now, and I need 10 more recipes. So if anybody wants to go and try it and send us a recipe, we just need 10 more. And it's polskafoods.com, POLSK foods.com, or just look up organic pierogi on Google and we will probably come up. So most likely.
All right, and what would you like to wish to our viewers and listeners?
What does stolat translate into?
Oh, Stolat. 100 years.
100 years. Stolat.
Okay. 100 years of success.
100 years of good health.
Okay, 100 years of
I wish
success.
to everybody like the most East European food, but I think like the East European food is really good and has a lot of flavor, and it's a little bit forgotten on this side of United States.
Yeah, plus you just add some new words, not new words, but like say vegan, vegetarian, no hormones, lactose free, and you're good to go. We are coming back in a few minutes after commercial break. Olga Show from you to you every Saturday night. And you can see us on ustream.tv. Also, you can see us on TV every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. So just contact Comcast and Olga Show every Saturday. Okay, so we're going to